Picture this, it's December, your West Okoboji rental, it's sitting empty. Your pipes need the heat running around the clock, or they'll explode. Your dock's in storage and you paid good money to get it there. And your bank account, it's quietly bleeding out. That's a side nobody's putting on Instagram. I'm John Ross with Real Estate Unlimited, your go-to for Okoboji real estate. And today, we're getting into all of it. Here's how it usually goes. Someone comes out to Okoboji for the 4th of July. They're on the water, having the time of their life, watching fireworks on the lake. And somewhere around day 3, they think, why don't we just buy something out here? We come here every summer anyway. We can just rent it out when we're not using it. I'm not saying that's a bad instinct. Okoboji is the real deal. Blue water, great access, people want to be here. But the postcard version of this investment and the actual version, they're two very different animals. And let's talk about what nobody's putting in the listing description. First thing you need to understand about West Okoboji is shoreline. It's limited. That's not an opinion, that's geography. Limited supply, high demand. You can guess what's coming next. You're probably going to overpay to get it, but that's the reality of this market. Now maybe that's fine. Maybe you've got money burning a hole in your pocket. But whoa it up a minute. The purchase price is just the beginning. We just had 2026 property tax assessments rolling through. And if you're an out-of-state investor who didn't see that coming, well, welcome to Iowa, my friend. It's catching us all off guard. I mean, think about it. You got a mortgage tied up on a seasonal asset. Let that sink in for a second. Seasonal asset. Yeah, you bet it feels like a boat anchor tied around your ankle. This type of investing isn't for the weak. This thing makes money in the summer. That's it. Rest of the year, that's just sitting there. Bills don't care what month it is. Point is, before you fall in love with the listing, run the numbers. The real ones. Because the last thing you want is this dream of yours to turn into your worst nightmare. Alright, let's say you buy it. Now you're a lakefront rental owner. Guess what comes first? The dock. Every spring, that dock has to go in. And it isn't something you do by yourself on a Saturday afternoon. It has to be done right and by the right people. Before the May rush, because that's when your renters start showing up. And those contractors, they're booked out months in advance. I'm not exaggerating. You call January, they already have jobs lining up. So if you're not planning ahead, you're going to be behind. And your dock is going to be late. And your first guests are going to be real upset when the best that they can do is skip rocks from the shore. Next is the hoist. West Okoboji's Mother Nature has its own particular wind and chop situation. Your watercraft needs to be properly protected. And that means specialized hoist maintenance. Every year, nothing about owning a lake house is a one-time job. You gotta do it every year. Now, I'm not trying to scare you away. None of this is impossible. But it adds up fast. Time, money, logistics. You're managing a small operation every single season before your first guest even walks through the door. Someone has to be brutally honest with you so you know exactly what you're signing up for. Now let's talk about the math, because this is the one that's important. 12 weeks. That's your peak rental window. Memorial Day to Labor Day, give or take a little. And in those 12 weeks, you need to generate roughly 90% of your annual revenue. 90%, 12 weeks. So what happens the other 40 weeks of the year? She sits empty. And while it's sitting empty, guess what? Utility bills don't stop. You need heat running all winter so your pipes don't explode. That's not a small number, and it can get even more expensive if you've got a furnace that was installed back in Knob. And your vacancy rate in the off season? People head south. They're not coming to Iowa in February for a lake rental. And if they are, that's a lake house, all right. A mobile one, also known as a fish house. So that shoulder season income you're projecting? Yeah, no. The reality is, if you had one bad summer where bookings fall short, you can't catch up in October. The window's closed. Best of luck next year. This business is the golden child of examples for risk and reward. But hey, my old man did always say, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Hey, real quick, drop a comment below. Let me know if you have any specific questions about the Iowa Great Lakes area or Okoboji real estate in general. I read every single one, and yes, I'll reply to every one of them. And heck, you might even help me come up with my next video idea. Alright, let's keep it rolling. Now I want to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and that's the rules. West Okoboji, Arnolds Park, Okoboji, noise ordinances, parking enforcements. And if your renters violate those, you're the one getting fined. Not them, you. And here's the reality of short-term rental marketing. You're advertising a fun summer getaway on a lake. You're going to attract people, and they aren't there for a long time. They're there for a good time. Nothing wrong with that, but that crowd leaves wear and tear every single turnover. On top of that, city councils in Arnolds Park and Okoboji are actively looking at regulations that would limit the number of rental nights you're allowed per year. That conversation isn't speculation, it's happening right now. So you could buy this property, invest heavily, get everything set up, and find out a year later that the rules are changing on you. And also make sure you do your homework on zoning, parking, special permits, because that's crucial. If you want more details, drop it in the comments and I can get you the specifics on each. They vary by town, and we'd all fall asleep if I went over every single one of them. But do know, they do matter. All right, let's talk about what I call the lake rental tax. Short disclaimer, this isn't a real tax, it's just, hear me out, that's what I came up with. Everything out here for rental owners seems to cost more, because you pay for a last second call. You might only have 24 to 48 hours till the next group shows up, and you have to have that place ready, which means people have to squeeze you into their schedule, which means they are gonna charge you more. And you probably have a full-time job, which leads to property management fees, because unless you live locally and are retired, you're hiring someone to run this thing, who then hires someone else, which you're paying for, to clean between each new guest or group. And with short-term rentals, turnovers are frequent. And don't forget about maintenance on whatever the last group broke, because you're sure not getting a good review if the next guest walks in. There's a big old hole in the wall, toilet seats broke off the hinges, and the TV's dead because the previous group had a little too much liquid courage the night before and used it to keep their balance. When you sit down and calculate your actual net profit after management fees and cleaning and your lake rental tax on all the services out there, the number looks a whole lot different than the gross revenue you were probably dreaming about. Now look, I'm not here to tell you Okoboji short-term rentals can't work, because they can't. There's plenty of people doing it successfully. But they went in with their eyes wide open. They knew the 12-week math. They had contractors, cleaners, maintenance crews. All of that was lined up before they closed. They understood the rules and the real numbers. Are you still on the edge wondering to yourself, heck, is this really for me? Well, here's a gut check. Can you handle a bad summer, financially and emotionally? Can you absorb a year where the bookings fall short? If the answer is no, well, then the business isn't for you. Bottom line, West Okoboji is one of the most beautiful places in the Midwest. I love it out here. I mean, that's why I sell real estate here. But loving a place and making money on a short-term rental here, two completely different conversations. I'm more than happy to have either one with you. And if you're thinking about making a move in the Iowa Great Lakes, whether that's short-term rental, vacation property, or your primary home, I'd love to talk to you through that process as well. Or maybe you need to sell a rental property or even your primary home. Call or text me directly or book a strategy call. Everything you need is in the description below. If you have questions, feel free to call or text me as well, or you can drop a comment below and I'll answer it. Save this video as your reminder, and make sure you check out this video right here for a little bit more Okoboji intel.